MetaClouds allow us the ability to actually create custom clouds outside of the clouds that are created within the spectral atmosphere's cloud layers. And keep in mind that the MetaClouds, I'm going to go ahead and just click on one to add one right now, only work within the spectral atmosphere model. So if you're not working with the spectral atmosphere, you will not be able to see these clouds. They will not work. So let's make sure that we are using a spectral atmosphere. So we're going to go to the atmosphere editor and just make sure that the spectral model is selected. Right now, I'm actually going to go ahead and just load in one of the asileFX skies from the 200 skies collection and click OK. So we can see this cloud just a little bit better, something with a little more light and a little more interesting of sky than just the default. Now there's two different ways to load in MetaClouds. What we can do is either right mouse click on a MetaCloud to open up the library, and right now my library only has one cloud in it. I'm sure yours probably has a little bit more. And what we can also do is just left mouse click to actually just create random cloud models. So I can go ahead and left mouse click again to create another MetaCloud. And I'm going to go ahead and actually zoom out and move this off to the side just a little, just using one of our clouds. So now we can have two clouds in our scene, and we can edit them, of course, however we want. Now keep in mind these surfaces on MetaClouds cannot be changed. They can't be edited. We can edit specific parts of these clouds. If we go to the material editor, we can see that we have all these cloud settings. So we can edit our clouds, but we can't change the material, and we also cannot turn any other object into a MetaCloud. A MetaCloud is specifically a MetaCloud, and we cannot change the surface or save it and load it onto anything else. But what we can do is, of course, edit the specific parts of our cloud. Going back into that material editor, we can see we can adjust the cover, the density, opacity, the ambient lighting, the God ray intensity, and all of these different options with it. So it's really, really cool, fun to play around with. And we also have the ability to, of course, edit the actual object. I've expanded right now the MetaCloud 2, and we can go ahead and select any one of the spheres we want and actually raise them up, make them larger if we wanted to, manipulate them to make a cloud that we would like to see personally. And we can, of course, raise these up into the other clouds if we wanted to, so they peaked out a little bit higher. And there's just a lot we can do with it. And if we render it, we'll see that it's actually a very, very high detail, and it looks like a very, very realistic cloud. So I'm going to go ahead and render this really, really quick. I'm going to go to Final, Render to Screen, change this to 16 by 9, and just 320 by 180 ought to be fine. Click OK, and I'm just going to render that. And we can see we have this really, really nice looking cloud. Of course, we would need to edit the ambient lighting just a little so it matches the clouds in the background of our atmosphere. But it's still very, very cool. There's a lot we can do with it. MetaClouds will also cast shadows on the ground if we want them to, and create God rays if we want them to. We can adjust the intensity of that by moving them in front of the sun. We can also have volumetric sunlight passing through and doing some really, really neat stuff. Not only that, but we can also fly through these clouds. So the closer we go to them, the detail does not diminish at all, and we can actually go inside. You can see how close we are to this cloud right now. We can actually go ahead and go inside of the cloud and fly through it because they're completely volumetric. We can also use these to create smoke. If we wanted to make a little bit of a darker cloud, we could, of course, decrease our ambient, so it's a very, very dark cloud. And we can also change the color. So if we go to the atmosphere editor, or sorry, the material editor for our cloud, we can go to color and density. We can adjust the density production. So in other words, we can edit a function if we want to and actually manipulate our cloud that way. And what we can also do is adjust our volumetric color. So I'm going to go to edit color, and we're going to grab something that's going to stand out. We'll use a green and click OK. And now we can see that this cloud is completely green. So we can use it for a lot of different things. We don't necessarily have to create entirely realistic looking clouds. We, of course, can create alien looking clouds and, of course, dust clouds, this sort of a green toxic gas it could be. And then we can also go to the function editor and add noise nodes and fractal nodes and turbulent nodes to sort of manipulate the cloud to exactly how we want it to look. So very, very powerful tool.